Hello, I'm Philip St. Clair. Welcome to my virtual reading, and thanks for coming. I'll be reading 4 poems from my latest book, Red Cup, Green Lawn. It was published earlier by Main Street Rag Press. If you like what you hear, you can order it directly from Main Street Rag, www.mainstreetrag.com, or you can go to my website, www.philipstclair.com, for a link to Main Street Rag. Poems come from many different places. This one came from a local incident that a colleague once related to me. Car story. A woman visits the auto showroom down her street, carefully inspects all the glamorous, unattainable cars, opens the door of an all-white Lincoln convertible, and gets in. The salesman with sideburns walks over, says, "How do?" Asks her if she'd like to take it for a spin. "Sure," she says, and off they go around the block. The wind gentle in her hair, the sun warm on her face, the ball of her foot throbbing from all that power. "Thanks," she says, when they return. And before she leaves, she watches him snag the ignition key on a hook behind his desk. That night, halfway through Unsolved Mysteries, she rises from her couch, pulls the fire extinguisher from its rack in the kitchen, walks back to the showroom, and lobs it through the big plate glass window. She gets the keys to the Lincoln, bounces it over the low sill in a shower of sparks, heads for the Super America. She goes inside, picks up an armload of cola and corn chips. "I don't have to pay," she says on her way out. "Jehovah is my father." The cashier and the manager run after her, and when she tries to drive off, the car won't go into reverse. They hold both doors shut to keep her in, so she puts it in park, stares straight ahead, keeps her both hands on the wheel, waits for the inevitable while the engine idles. 4 cruisers pull in, lights flashing. Soon she is handcuffed, gently eased into a back seat. On the way to the station, she looks in the windows of many houses. Generous draperies, cheerful rooms, the blue flicker of unseen televisions, the parents who sit before them in faceless silhouette. This poem is based on a couple of family stories that I've been hearing for a number of years. Love story. An old man and an old woman sit together on a green wooden bench in front of a local rest home, staring at rush hour traffic. The man sees a beat-up Chevy with a loud muffler stop at a red light, so he tells her about the time the phone rang at 1 a.m., and when he ran downstairs to answer it, he damn near broke his big toe on the leg of the sofa. It was his brother, all drunked up, calling from the beer garden to tell him that the war was over, but it really wasn't over, and his wife got real angry. She said she was going to call his brother up on the phone and say right to his face just what she thought. The woman watches him as he tells his story, and when he is finished, she reaches out to him with her fingernail, gently scrapes a bit of egg yolk from his sleeve. The man looks at her with an expression of affection and amazement, but she takes no notice. The woman sees a truck with a Pepsi-Cola logo make a left turn, so she tells him about the first house she and her husband ever owned. It was nice, and it was near the river, but she never really liked it. She was afraid the water would rise too high, and wash everything away. She didn't want her boys swimming down there, and once she told them that if they ever came back drowned, they'd get a whipping. The boys got to laughing so hard that she laughed too. But that next year, the river rose up to the bottom step, so they moved to town. The woman plucks a hanky out of her purse, dabs at her mouth. Suddenly, a gust of wind snatches it out of her hand and rolls it toward the highway. The man gets up and shambles after it. "Come back, oh, come back," she cries. But he does not hear. During an MFA workshop session many years ago, someone said that writing about talking animals was the greatest of all writerly sins. After seeing a group of dogs run free, I wrote this one. Big dogs with money. 3 big dogs are roaming around the suburbs, sniffing at every gutter and garbage can, having a damn good time. The collie finds a crumpled dollar bill in a mall parking lot. The shepherd wants to buy a lottery ticket and share whatever they win among themselves. The black lab agrees. The collie is happy to go along with everyone else. They win $6,000. They carry off all the money in plastic sacks they found in back of Kroger's. "Maybe we should bury it somewhere," the shepherd says. "Nah," says the lab. "Who's going to steal from the 3 of us?" They decide to go to a fancy restaurant, order a la carte. The friendly waiter ties linen napkins about their necks, cuts up their food for them, serves it in porcelain bowls. "What could be finer than a big dog with money?" the collie says. "Frickin' A," says the shepherd. "Bitchin'," says the lab. That night they go to the opera. They get box seats close to the orchestra so they can smell everything below. "All those different deodorants," the collie says. The next day, someone from the IRS stopped by to visit. "Take what you need. We love our country," the shepherd says. Then someone else comes to talk retirement plans. "We don't need your stinking 401k, says the collie. "Let's bite his ass," says the lab. By the end of the week, all the money is gone. Spent, lost, given away? Who knows? But what else can a big dog need beyond manic chases after unexpected cats? Beyond scents in the nose that crack like a shot? Beyond luxury cars that have to spike the brakes when they leisurely trot across the street? This last one came from a trip to Los Angeles some years ago. Cowboys and Steelers. A young boy is in the bed of a small gray Nissan pickup on 101 to Ventura. He has wrapped himself in a blanket. He lies on a thin mattress and looks up at the sky. It is dusk, and the washes of pale pink and pale mauve that color all of Southern California have deepened to pastel. His parents must have told him to keep his head down and keep still, for he lies there immobile, arms stiff at his side, in a wide-eyed trance. Now he has escaped from that 50s rock and roll on the oldies station his parents play in the cab, and the highway that always rushes at him to vanish past his ears like the video game he hates, and his parents' never-ending talk, their jobs and the rent money and the spiteful and ignorant things the people they know are doing all the time. Now the green route signs are flashing over him, much too fast to be read. The street lights are white-hot comets whose orbits are bright straight lines, and the full moon rolls over him on a path from the left front headlight to the right rear tail light. And as he looks at the patterns of stars that are light years removed from the frenzy just over his head, he thinks they could be skeletons and imagines them with muscle and flesh. Then he looks for the best ones and lines them up and gives them helmets and shoulder pads and jerseys. And when the truck hooks a sharp right to the exit ramp near their home, they circle each other and keep their distance. How wary they are, how brilliant their numbers. Well, that's it. Once again, thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed the poems. Red Cup Green Lawn out this year for Main Street Rag. Order directly from www.mainstreet.com or visit my website, philipstclair.com, for a link to the press. So long.